Good evening, Manoj, and welcome to the MedicinMan Pharma CEO Roundtable. We are delighted to have you on the program as you are one of the visible CEOs on social media, and therefore having you on our program, sharing your perspectives will be wonderful for us.
Thank you so much, Anup. Thanks a lot for having me. I really, it's always so nice to interact with you and looking forward for the interactions. I don't know whether it's a compliment that you said for social media visibility, uh, but I think as a person who has learned so many things from from so many people in the industry, I think giving back to the industry is also a responsibility for ours, and that's the reason why social media, which is today quite popular with the younger generation as well, and that's the reason why sometimes share my views and opinions on social media.
Absolutely right. And the thing is that the youngsters look forward to the CEOs, what the CEOs have to say. So it's all the more important for CEOs to inspire them with the vision of the future of what the pharma industry holds for them. So this is what will be happening on the first, Manoj, and what we are doing is a prelude to that, so that every CEO gets enough airtime to voice their opinions and views. So here's the first question for you. How has the digital transformation journey been for Bayer in the years after the pandemic?
So I guess Bayer has a plan for digitalization already in place. Yeah, like many other organization. What pandemic definitely did is accelerating those plans across the board. So I would say that the journey has been actually fabulous from a usage of technology across the board, and we look at technology from three uh, pillars perspective, yeah, or three windows. The first is how can we have our teams, internal teams, to really understand technology or digital, or in common parlance for sales and marketing, we say IMCM, which is integrated multi-channel marketing. How can our teams understand that and become digital native so that they understand what is needed to be done, what are the tools in their hand, and how they can maximize the usage there and hit the right spots, not overdoing but also not underdoing something. Yeah, so that's the first thing which we see now quite a significant number of colleagues within our organization who have progressed very well, and now we can say to them that they are digitally native, they are comfortable using technology. The second piece is around platform, which Anup, is extremely important, because if the platform is not right, and the platforms could be our CRM platforms, it could be other channels which we use for patients, reaching out to patients. And I think that there we have really during the pandemic time strengthened ourselves so that we have the best of the platforms, both for our sales reps but also for our medical colleagues, also patient engagement tools, like chatbots, like things like various channels on the social media, which actually helps. Yeah, so the right usage of platforms. And lastly, which I think for an organization like ours, and I think this could be true for many others, we live in a regulated environment, right? So what sort of a processes and and we keep in place for, simple things from data security. Do we have the consents of the customer? Do we have enough processes in-house to manage our Salesforce excellence parameters, KPIs, and all that? Yeah. So what sort of a processes we have? And in that we started, in the journey slightly before pandemic, but I think we progressed pretty fast. And one of the important aspects in the process is around the ability to use data. Yeah, so we generate a lot of data, but I think how do we uh, become an organization which is taking decisions based on the data? Yeah, and I think that's where we have progressed. So in one word, the journey has been fantastic from a digital transformation, and we see progress in all the three aspects, both from people, process, and platform. Yeah.
So thank you very much. You have put it very nicely. You have put people first. Yes, our people should understand how technology works and how they can prepare themselves for the future. And then the platforms, it's very important that you choose the right platform, which is suitable for all the stakeholders, whether it's the field force, whether it's the customers, or whether it is some other stakeholders like third parties that help you in the digital process. And finally, you said that process is very important because we are in a regulated environment. So therefore, we have to take much more care than other industry sectors. And finally, the ability to use data. Everybody is fond of saying data is the new oil, but I think the ability to use data, mine the insights from the data and see what is actionable and what can be given to the field force. So they feel that technology is definitely helping me to improve my working. And that is where I think the whole transformation will happen when people see the impact of the insights from the data impacting the day-to-day work. So the next question to you is that customer engagement has always been the focus for pharma. It'll be great if you can share some specific example of how digital helped you engage with your customers that would have been otherwise difficult to do in the offline world.
No, Anup, I think this is a absolutely important question. Yeah. See, digital offers opportunities for having a much deeper conversations, engagements with our customer, better fulfilling, in fact, even patient needs at times, and returning overall with a very high engagement to what we need. When we say we are a patient-centric organization, I think digital is a great enabler for that. And the overall IMCM in terms of using multiple channels is a good example. So I'll give you two examples specifically as how digital has helped us to engage. One, I think in the COVID point of time, there were many instances where patients getting credible information was missing. Yeah. So we started this channel on Facebook and Instagram, and now it's also on the YouTube, which is called as Buyer for Health. Yeah. And you won't believe in the 12 months period of time, we scaled up subscription. I mean, or people who subscribe to our channel on Facebook grew from almost zero to now close to 300,000. Yeah. Within a span of 16, 17 months. And I think the example, I mean, the one is the credible information, but I think the hungerness of many therapeutic area where patients want to get better understanding and feel empowered that they can control their disease and manage their disease well, was extremely high during this period of time when COVID was there, right? Whether it's diabetes, whether it is cardiovascular disorders or retina. So that is one, I think, where from a consumer perspective or patient's perspective, purely from a information on disease management, what they can do to manage the disease well. Yeah. The second is from a specialty perspective. In certain specialty, we know the frequency of your visits, whatever you would like to have with super specialists is not there, right? And there we have seen that through our IMCM, because we deployed IMCM across the board for sales, marketing, but also medical, we saw that we could, significantly increase our frequency and reach to super specialists. But more importantly, yeah, the engaging conversations were much more deeper. Yeah. And what I mean by that, face-to-face call in India, different statistics, Anup, and you are on top of it, is less than a minute. 30 seconds is at max. We saw it increasing almost by 15 to 20 times. Yeah. And even we are talking of digital interactions of rep. Yeah. For MSLs, for medical and for marketing, even higher. And I think these are certain examples which open our eyes and say that if our ability, and I'll use the word what you say, right? Deeper insights. If we have right insights and if we have right content, and if you are able to deliver it through digitally, the outcomes could be much more better in an environment where most of the super specialists are not even keen to see a sales rep. Yeah.
Great, wonderful. So you have rightly said that digital only offers opportunities. It is how we are able to engage customers with content that is of interest to them, for content for which there is a hunger. And digital is a great enabler. And it's wonderful to hear that in 16 months' time, you have grown the universe of your consumers or stakeholders or whatever that is to 300,000. I mean, imagine doing that in the physical world, next to impossible. And then with the doctors, when it comes to doctors, to increasing that 30-minute to 1-minute window to 15 minutes, or even 10 minutes is something simply fabulous that is not possible in the physical realm at all. So it's really heartening to hear your use of technology and how much it has benefited and improved your customer engagement. So pharma is always interested in ROI. Therefore, measuring customer effectiveness of engaging customers online has been a learning process. How has Bayer learned? Have you adopted any best practices from other industries?
Yeah. This is I think these questions keep on coming, right? The ROI from a digital. When we live in an environment which is multi-channel, digital is an enabler. Yeah, we don't see ROI for each of the channel, but in the holistic manner, if our KPIs are being met, I think we are okay. And there definitely what we have seen that digital has been a great enabler. In the previous question we highlighted some of it. It's a great enabler to reach out to the objectives which we outlined. Yeah, and essentially during the COVID time, since I mean, I know this is a overall question, but the examples in COVID you were just referring to, we set out three things. Yeah, we said, our employees and their families' safety is our paramount priority. Uh, and we actually partnered with the other P which I use for digital is partnership, because we can't do it alone. Yeah, so there are numerous partners which are doing fabulous job, and we partnered. So we partnered with a lot of companies which could help our employees to need, so whatever they need they could do it. The second was around making sure that we have our products available at all the pharmacy shops or hospitals where they need it in a critical time like COVID. Yeah, so how do we make sure that our manufacturing is done, our supply chain is, our logistics distribution is working well? And the last piece was around how do we make sure that we reach out to the patients and give them information. Yeah, so based on that we have done that, and and we have continued now, of course, with look at how do we do IMCM. The effectiveness being measured in terms of how our ability to reach out to customers, both doctors as well as pharmacies, our ability to reach out to consumers or patients whom we do not reach directly, but without branded patient education material, I think was quite good. Yeah, what we have learned is definitely a couple of things. I think, and as I said, partnership is something which we learned out, that there are credible partners which can help us to also get insights as to look at what is the content which is working, what is not. Yeah. So that is one, definitely. How do we zero in into the right partners, both for CRM, but also I think there are also many other partners across the board, right? Second thing I think we learned around that when we communicate with doctors, what is the medium? So while we deploy channels, but what is the content? Yeah, which we call it loosely as content factory. Yeah, you said data is oil, we also say content is king, right? So looking at what content is working, do we have content for micro segments rather than a specialty of a doctor? Yeah, because each brand, there are micro segments which based on the patient groups which we are looking at it. So what is how do we define the content and how we generate appropriate content which the customers want to have it? Data, I think, is also something where we are looking at how do we deploy the right tools, whether it's Power BI, how do we use a structure to create dashboards where people can, or the rep can take a decision rather than he looking at head office for every decision. Yeah, those are the few things which came out clearly as to as where we needed a stark improvement. There are other things which were more fine tuning.
Great. That's wonderful that you have defined ROI as the ability to reach out to customers, be they doctors or pharmacies or even patients. And it's good to have credible partners, because sometimes some of these partners are, by virtue of their early adoption, ahead in the curve of understanding digital and use of its capabilities, and therefore partnerships are very important instead of reinventing the wheels. And it also helps you to understand what works and what doesn't work. So it's I like this what you said, because one must be willing to experiment and fail, because some things will work, but some things will not work. And then to ask those questions as to why some things worked and why some things didn't work, you have the data, you get the insights, and you can as you rightly said, keep fine tuning the program campaign that you are doing via digital.
And just to add, because I think there was a part B of the question on best practices from the other industry. I think a lot we know what digitalization had done for banking and finance industries, what telecom industry for sure, but also electronic industry. We know the likes of Samsung or many other companies launch products, right? They don't call every single sales rep under one roof to do a product training. Yeah, the ability to train every single person on the latest models, features, and things like that. The way they engage a consumer in a 360 manner when he goes or she goes to a website, for example. Yeah, their product marketing. Yeah, I think there were quite a few things which we adopted. To look at how should we send out emailers or video calls or content. I think there was a lot of learning from banks and from consumer electronic goods. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they were the pioneers who led the way ahead, and the example is definitely there for pharma to encourage pharma to adopt digital. I don't remember the last time I went to the bank, but I don't have money in my pocket, but I'm still buying and things that I need through the financial digital platforms. So thank you. It's wonderful having people like you share their insights, and I'm really grateful that this 20 minutes that we could spend, sets the context for the March 1st meeting. I look forward to your participation there. It's a very small gathering that we are having, but we are getting some fabulous keynote speakers. Vikas Dandekar, who has been a veteran
Yeah.
in following and doing the wonderful pharma stories, and Sumit Channa from the EY Life Sciences will be giving his perspectives based on his interaction with so many different pharma companies. So thank you once again, Manoj, and I look forward to welcoming you on the first. Thank you very much. Have a great
Thank,
day.
thank you so much, Anu, for having me. Looking forward to meet you.
Thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.